Welcome to our day 5 of our 21 days of prayer and fasting. I know that for some of you, you might be saying, hey, this is only our 3rd devotional. How is this day 5? Well, we missed a couple days, so we will be getting back on track with that, but just wanted to just encourage you to keep on just pressing in, just keep seeking after the Lord. As I was praying this morning, just this thought came to heart about just how we seek the Lord and what we expect and how we receive. So many of us have maybe even at times struggled like trying to receive something from the Lord because we've seen how someone else received it. We saw the power of God move on someone else. And we said, man, I want that. And so we went and tried to replicate that and tried to make that same thing happen in our own life. And maybe that was a struggle. Maybe for some, it was a distraction of seeking after some particular gift. And, I know that was definitely an issue in my life, and even just receiving the Holy Spirit in the first place, because I was so focused on a gift and an experience and what I had seen that I was missing that God was the one that I was seeking. And so as He set our eyes on Him, He helped us to recognize that really it's Him that we need. It's He that we are seeking after. And as He moves, He will bless and He will give us what we need. And often that very thing that we thought we were after, trying to reproduce, He does produce. But I'm reminded of this story in 1 Kings chapter 19. So right after Elijah has this great moment, he calls down fire from heaven, and then he gets threatened by Jezebel. So he takes off running. And he's frustrated, and he's discouraged, and he's feeling like he's alone, and kind of almost like questioning God, like, where are you? I'm the only one left. And God takes him to this place. He sends him off to the wilderness. He sends him to this space, and he's seeking the Lord, and he's asking, Lord, what should I do? In fact, he's already asked God to just end it, to take his life, to get this over with. And here's what happens. So in chapter 19, verse 11, it says this, Then he said, Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore through the mountain and broke the rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in an earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. So it was when Elijah heard it that he wrapped his face in his mantle. He went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. And suddenly a voice came to him and said, What are you doing here, Elijah? So Elijah fell prey to that trap of just feeling like, God, you have to move a certain way or you're not moving at all. And so in this moment, he experiences this thing where God has shown up in these ways. He's shown up in fire. He's shown up through rumbling and his voice shaking the earth. He's shown up through a mighty wind. And yet in this moment, God shows up in a still small voice. And often this is really what God is looking for us, to press into Him enough to hear the still small voice. And we want the fire, and we want the earthquake, and we want the wind, we want the dramatic, we want the outward, stuff that we can just say, oh, this is, grabbing my attention away from everything else. And yet God is saying, I desire that you would press into me, that you would listen to my voice, and that you would rest in me. So I want to encourage you today that you would just seek after Him, and not make the assumption that it has to be an earthquake, a fire, or wind. So don't get stuck on earth, wind, and fire, but go after